of that in terms of yoga and the brain is because your body and your brain work better when they're clean.
Even if it did fail, I knew I could always go back to corporate and find a job.
Teaching cafeteria workers who work so incredibly hard, teaching them about handling fresh produce, how to get more fresh produce into the schools.
You need to tell people, bring a coffee to Coffee and Crystals.
But sometimes you need an intervention. You need a surgery, and that's okay. You get your surgery, and then you use all these other modalities in the Ayurveda to prevent things from coming back.
Hey guys, you stumbled upon Coffee and Crystals. I'm Katie, your motivator, your host, your hostess, and on this podcast, I am sharing a ton of information. And not only have I been highly caffeinated for a couple of years, I have knowledge of over 500 hours of yoga teacher training. I have been in the corporate world for over 15 years, so I will be your business coach. We'll talk about self-help, beauty, all things wellness and crystals. And in every episode, I am inviting you into my heart. And honestly, this adventure is pretty cool that we're going on together. We're going to meet some of my gurus, the wisdom of mentors and friends and family members. It's a good time. So stay hydrated, pour yourself a cup of coffee, and let's dig into today's episode. Join me in fundraising for the LA Marathon event, raising money for the Million Mile Project. The Million Mile Project is a nonprofit organization that helps people recover from substance abuse disorder and other mental health issues. Every dollar that we fundraise and raise while training for the LA Marathon event will give back to families and make a difference this season. And yeah, I'm in my tea era. I just made a pack with a coworker today. We are going to drink more tea. So if she's listening, I'm drinking tea. It's also really great this time of the year. We have, 20 days until the first day of winter. The first day of winter is December 22nd. Our new moon in December is on Sunday. So it's Friday evening. It's Black Friday. So on Sunday, it's going to be the new moon. So this is like a really great time to kind of get this planning in order so that we are like really finishing the year strong with a plan next to that new moon energy, so we can kind of follow gas on the pedal with that plan through the full moon of December. That's on December 17th, and then we'll go into winter. So yeah, the slowest, least amount of light of the days of the year are upon us, so we will be feeling more sluggish and slow. That's just the nature of the season. But that doesn't mean that we don't forget about the winter arc and stay focused on goals and planning. So in today's episode, I wanted to talk about rebranding Coffee and Crystals, but really for me, the reason I'm thinking about rebranding right now is it really is a time to be in creator mode. So matching into the new moon, but also closing out a new year and being really set up with your vision and realigning to your North Star before we go into the new year. Now is the time to utilize the light and be really disciplined with our time and time with who we're spending our time with, what we're consuming on TV. There's a lot of great content out there. My goal in my rebranding is to really make sure that I am generating content that is helping you guys, that you want to tune in and actually listen and keep listening to, because that really helps the podcast grow. That's what platforms like Spotify are looking for. They want to know that you guys are sticking around and really want to see and hear what I'm talking about. So that's a big initiative on rebranding, but this is really great for you guys to think about your business and your brand and your individual goals. What exactly does this look like? Let's start putting pen to paper, making action towards these goals. So then in 30 days, when this 2024 year ends, gosh, it's crazy, right, to think about? We're ready for 2025. But yeah, I was thinking about it, Friendsgiving. So my friend Sydney hosted Friendsgiving. I had raised my hand to host Friendsgiving, and then I kind of I just canceled last minute. It wasn't super last minute, but on Thanksgiving, I guess anything's going to seem like last minute because it's a big event. But I think it was on Sunday where I texted Sydney. I was like, I just can't do it. if you guys listened to last episode, like I was coming off like a little mild depression from being so sick. Like it really got in my head. Like I had this whole episode about pain and it being your friend because it reminds you you're not dead yet. It was very dramatic, but that's how I felt. So I just like couldn't be responsible for hosting Friendsgiving, but like bless her for doing that. It was so fun. But I thought it would be fun to like ask a question and have everybody answer it. And I think my question was, because I was drinking lots of wine, it was like with the girls, was like, what was your most unhinged thing that you did? And like people were really thinking, and like there were some good ones, and I had this realization that I was like, oh my gosh, I always think that I'm like better than I am, and then I'm like in these scenarios where I was like, oh, I guess mine is actually pretty bad, like it's pretty unhinged, like I definitely win, which I'm just like not gonna share that story, but just know that like I'm pretty unhinged. It's kind of like if you guys have been listening for a while, when I got fired from Travis Matthew, like I went out that night and basically asked everybody like if they'd been fired before, and like most people haven't, or I guess in this circle, in this orbit, in that echo chamber that I was in, it still seems like every time I ask people, they haven't been fired as many times as me. But anyway, that is like, I don't know, I guess that's why I have podcasts and why I love telling stories and why I think I could really write a great book one day. But consuming is like just in the air. Like the conscious collective is, you know, we just coming off Black Friday, so like that's gonna calm down a little bit, but like brands, I've had a lot of experience with like directing and planning and promos of Black Fridays with like lots of different brands. I've worked Black Fridays, numerous Black Fridays. Like I was thinking about that today, like 15 years plus of experience of just like watching other people run Black Friday, me run Black Friday, be a part of Black Fridays in different ways, like e-com, retail, field management, like people management. You know, even on the marketing side, the lull of Black Friday, but still being like online, even when you're like off. So I know Black Friday, and like the energy is to like get everybody's attention, like for their sale and their product, and it's gonna go through the holidays. It's like a consumption era. So I think it's our job, our yoga is to make sure that we keep the balance of creation and consumption. And there's some really good content out there. This past week, part of the recap, I watched not only the David Beckham documentary, I also watched the Martha Stewart, I don't know why I can't say either of their names correctly. Martha Stewart and David Beckham, I watched both of their documentaries on Netflix, and honestly, like, I love them both. Martha Stewart really, like, stood out to me. Like, I felt like that was a really impactful documentary. I had a lot of aha moments, but definitely one of my biggest aha moments was just, like, a realization of, like, how the media and like people can like pinpoint you and like in a certain way and like win the fight. Like corruption and lies like win. I think it's all about how like you're perceived, sometimes how you go down, and it's kind of wild that someone could like go to prison off of something like she didn't do but was fun to do. But it isn't that wild, because I was like relating Martha's life to mine, and I think it's really cool that she was a caterer. I was a caterer. You met my boss, Polly Kendrick. I think it was like episode 37. And I was like, oh my God, like Martha, I had no idea her business model and like her brand was like her. Like I get it. Her brand is called Martha Stewart, but it was really cool to just hear about how it all came to be. And I had those moments like I could have been Martha. I still can be Martha, but I think her whole motto was to learn something new every day. And I think she did a really amazing job, one of the first women billionaires to create a brand off of just living. And she was really connected to a way of life that she wanted everybody to be able to afford. It didn't matter if you were like a millionaire or, you know, a single double job working person. Like she wanted to show the world how to live perfectly and make it attainable. So anyway, that's really good content to be consuming, because clearly she made an impact on me, and I think that you watching that could really take away something from Martha. But David Beckham, just like learning about his headspace and his mindset was really inspiring. Like like the country like hated him. It also just brought back funny memories. Like I dated this guy in college that was obsessed with David Beckham, and like his number was 23, which I forgot about until watching this. His dog's name was Bex, which I have so many funny stories of me being in charge of that dog and just like blowing the assignment and like really making my ex Brendan very mad. I remember when Beckham like shaved his head, my boyfriend at the time shaved his head, and he would wear those little earrings, and I don't know, it was just like two really great shows, because to kind of pull this into just like self-help behaviors for the season and coming into this back half of the colder winter days, it's important to stay in the winter arc and be disciplined and make action steps towards our goals. But it is the cozy, cuddly season. Like a great way to balance out this energy is to get cozy, wear cozy pajamas, watch a good movie, like good heart chakra, light-hearted things is, you know, watching a cute movie. Like there's also Hot Frosty, my girlfriend and I watched on Thanksgiving, like the afternoon nap time period. We watched Hot Frosty. So these are all actually really good ideas of how to like bring self-care. Reading a book, like an actual book, like, you know, Kindles are really in right now, and getting your exercise in, going into the sauna. These are all really great practices. So wanted to make sure that I'm like writing and thinking about all of this, because I have to make sure that in the last 30 days of the year, I don't like fall off like I kind of did last week, you know, like when you're not eating right, you know, it's the time to eat warm, filling foods and stay really balanced with your diet. Make sure that you're having enough protein, taking the vitamin D supplements. I mean, ask your doctor, like everybody's different, but just staying really disciplined with our diet is so important, because this is all what's going to keep us energized as we have like less light and energy coming to us from the sky. So yeah, consumption, that also means the people you're hanging out with, right? So shorter days, smaller spouts of energy. Be really intentional with not only what you're consuming, but who you're consuming. And you know, I was out to Thanksgiving brunch with some friends, and a conversation came up about just like, I don't know, like a dating story, and this girl like wasn't getting back to my friend, and he was just like, what do you think about that? And I was just like, I kind of just wanted to roll my eyes. You know what I think about that is I only give energy to things that are giving me energy. It's like a battery, right? Like everything we talk about on this show, the yin and the yang, like the teeter-totter, like you give me a little energy, I'll give you a little energy back. Energy, 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 you know, like it needs to be a flow. And if there's no energy, then like I'm giving no energy there. Like if this plant isn't growing, I'm not gonna like spend a bunch of time trying to revive it. Like nobody's got time for that. I'm gonna focus on what I can control. And I think that this, you know, that story is actually a really good example of what and how we should end our year. And then just spiritually, I think it's, you know, we're gearing up, 30 days left in the year to kind of come to our new year goals. So what I did for Coffee and Crystals is I spent a lot of time looking at like what shows you guys were loving, what shows didn't get as many views, what shows kind of you guys dropped off, like all those analytics, and looking at the different months of the year and like how many shows I was dropping, like really looking at the numbers. Then I started like emotionally thinking about my year, like what was some of my favorite highlights, and I was like, I just can't, when you really start to think about everything you've done in a year, you can, for one, it could probably cause a little bit of anxiety, like, oh God, like I didn't do all this. But when you switch it back into like a positive thing, like I was like, oh my God, I went to Costa Rica, I taught yoga, I was like in this beautiful presence of all these holistic practitioners to kick off the year. Then I saw my uncle. Then I got to go see one of my best friends from college get married. Then I got to teach yoga at one of my best friends' weddings in Mexico. I'm like, oh my gosh, all of this was in 1 year. Then I had like this really cool partnership with La La Land over the summer. I worked with Beyond Yoga. I taught yoga at Beyond Yoga. I did really great on my podcast. Who were the strongest guests? Mark Manali, the dentist, Dr. Asemi. Like, looking at all the highlights, it starts to make you like realize how much you did. On the flip side, there was so much opportunity that kind of like I was able to look at. So spiritually, with all that, what I was trying to say is it does come with a lot of planning and looking at the numbers and the analytics of your personal life and your business, but it comes with also like, what's your North Star? What's your intention? Like, I want to be working with the nonprofit, the Million Mile Project, this upcoming year, because I really think that if I could use my story and how people help my family recover from substance abuse disorder and all the mental health issues that, you know, people that I love have overcome, I think it's a really powerful message for Coffee and Crystals to be a part of something like that. So I really got to thinking about just what it is that Coffee and Crystals wants to be known for, what it is that, like, I think branding becomes a lot easier when you just think of everything as in, like, does this make sense for the message that I'm trying to give? Or does this, like, font or this title go with, like, what I would wear or how I would show up, and the Pinterest boards and all, like, the different creative ideas? This is like a fun part of the year. So, like, have fun with like the manifestation era and like the reflection era that this back half of the year brings, because it should be exciting. You know, it's going to be learning if you do the work and like really sit down with thinking about your highs and your lows, like the unhinged moments, but also like the really cool moments. Like, what are some moments that happened this year that you are so proud of? Like, this is a really great spiritual way to end your year, and this is your yoga homework, because this is yoga. And I think I've always been someone that loves this time of the year. You know, I actually, like, the party girl that I am and have been over the years, like, I'm actually like not a big New Year's Eve partier, because like I always buckle down this time of the year and like wake up on the first day of the year like ready to go. So whatever that means to you, however this resonates with you, if it resonates with you, please give me some feedback, share with me how you're ending your year, and shoot some ideas. You know, I'm really looking to really build the community with the Run Club, with Coffee and Crystals, with the Million Mile Project. Like, if anything I'm saying is resonating with you and you like have some ideas on collaborations, I'm like interviewing people who want to be on the show this year. Like, I want it to be intentional, but I also want it to be collaborative. Also, if you feel like anyone would benefit from seeing this show, listening to me, please share the podcast. We need the numbers, like I was saying, part of my goals. And then, yeah, in this rebranding era, we have some really exciting things coming up for Coffee and Crystals, like merch in 2025. I put up a poll on my Instagram. Somebody told me this cup was creepy. I love this cup, but I don't know if we do merch, like, is this the vibe? Like, do we think like some phrases on some mugs are cute? I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys see for Coffee and Crystals? All right, guys, let's be mindful of the consumption, which also means it is late. I gotta get going. I love you guys. Stay hydrated out there. You know, I've been spending a lot of time in the sauna because we gotta warm up. It's a really good activity, physical activity for this time of year. Hot yoga, hot fitness, just your sauna in general, hot tubs. But you know what that means. It dehydrates you a little bit. So stay hydrated out there. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for listening.